الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله.
قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء. You give whoever you want, you withhold from whoever you want. Secondly, you are not so pious that you deserve all of these blessings, or so grateful that you deserve all of these blessings. فَمَا بِكُمْ وَمَا بِكُمْ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Whatever blessing you have is just a grace from Allah Azza wa Jal. فَضْلًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَنِعْمَةٍ. A grace from Allah and a blessing. And even if you want that thing, there is no harm in you asking Allah to give you better than it. And Allah will give you. And leave the person with what the blessings they have got. And it's not from the brotherhood of Islam to want your brother to suffer or to have a hardship and for you to have ease. All of this is a lack of iman in al-qadr wal-qada, in the decree of Allah and His predestiny or predestination that Allah Azza wa Jalla has decreed. So level one, you just feel that feeling. Does anything happen to the car? No. Anything happen to the person? No. What happens? You lose good deeds. Because the Prophet ﷺ told us that jealousy eats good deeds like fire eats firewood. So your good deeds get, if you take a nice, like say, pile of kindle and you just put a match, what will happen? In a minute, all of it will be burning until there will be nothing left except ashes. That is what happens to your good deeds when you are jealous of somebody. And when we say jealousy, we don't mean good jealousy, which we sometimes call ghira, or we sometimes have other words that we use for it. That is sort of where like you are looking after, you care about someone and you don't want anything bad to happen to them. Or something where maybe, you see a person of knowledge and you say, oh Allah, I wish I can have that person's knowledge and them to have it as well. I wish I could be given that knowledge. Or you see a person of wealth, I wish I could have that wealth to spend in the way of Allah. Not like this, but when you want the thing to be gone from that person. This is the first level. Where the evil eye creeps in is that what happens is, instead of just burning your own good deeds, you cause harm to the person that you were thinking about or looking at. So for example, you look at this car and it's what a nice car, and what happens? The guy has a car crash and the car becomes wrecked. Or the guy has something happen to his car where it breaks down and the car just breaks on the side of the road. And we've seen cases of somebody driving past in a car and say, wow, look at that car, and the car has broken down before the word came out of their mouth. Just smoke coming out of the engine and pulled off on the side of the road. This is completely something which is completely present, and the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Ainu haqq. The evil eye is the truth. However, we said that there are some narrations, and there's a difference of opinion among the scholars, but what I see to be the valid opinion that the dalil is in favor of is that there are some occasions when you can give the evil eye without jealousy. And there are two evidences for this. One, the hadith of the companion who is afflicted by the evil eye. And this narration is that he was taking a bath. And the people were sort of bathing, so each one would be covered, but they would be washing the upper part of their body or whatever. And one of the other companions saw him, radiallahu anhum, and he said, I have not seen such beautiful skin, not even from a virgin girl. I have not seen anyone with such beautiful skin. And the Sahabi dropped down on the floor as if he was, wrapped up in chains, as if he had died. He dropped down on the floor. So they came to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ said, do you blame anyone? هَلْ تَتَّهِمُونَ أَحَدًا? Do you blame anyone for this? And they said, so-and-so mentioned this about him. So the Prophet ﷺ commanded him to make ghusl, or to make wudu, and to take the water and to pour it over the afflicted person, and he stood up as though he had been released from chains. But the point is that this hadith indicates to us that it wasn't necessarily jealousy, but it was maybe al-ujb, you can say, like he was amazed, like amazement. And maybe you can say amazement with a twinge of jealousy. But I think that the other evidence for it is that there is a good amount of evidence you can give ayn to yourself, and you can give ayn to your children. And if that's the case, then it's not really expected that you can be jealous of yourself, or jealous of your children, but rather what happens is you get amazed by something and you don't mention Allah. You don't return that blessing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you get amazed by something and think, wow, look at this is amazing. And you feel that feeling of amazement where you're forgetting that it's from Allah. And this can cause also the evil eye. Now I have to mention that this is not a universally agreed opinion. Many of the scholars said it can only come from jealousy. But I think that when we look at the hadith, I don't think it's fair for us to say that one of those companions was, sharir al-tab' khabith al-nafs. I don't think that that's fair to say about one of the companions, radiallahu anhum wa ardahum. Other we say that it was most likely that he had al-ujb or something like that, that he was amazed by the person, and he was, just so sort of, what do they call it, like starstruck. Where you're just like, whoa, look at this person, and that can cause the evil eye. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This was the opinion of our Sheikh Adil when we asked him. And there are some other opinions. I believe there's a fatwa from the Lajna Da'ima which says that it can only come from jealousy. I think that the stronger opinion in this is that it can come from jealousy and amazement. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. So we've understood that it doesn't necessarily relate to the jinn. And it doesn't necessarily relate to magic either. Although there can be some overlap. How can there be some overlap? Well, remember we talked about the armor that is protecting you from the jinn and from the magic. Well, what can happen is the evil eye can reduce that armor. So what can happen is somebody gives you the evil eye, and then you become vulnerable to jinn possession. You become weak and you become vulnerable, and you can become afflicted. Or someone is trying to do magic on you, and the person who requested the magic is jealous, and their jealousy leads to the evil eye, and this weakens you and causes you to be afflicted by magic. It could be that you're afflicted by magic and then afflicted by the evil eye. Or it could be, and this is probably the most controversial, and I don't know if there is an evidence for this, but there are some opinions of what they call Ainul Jinn, which is the evil eye given by the jinn. So the evil eye that is followed by a jinn or given by the jinn. And this is a matter of disagreement. I don't think there is any dalil either way for it, but there is some indication of that. And it's something to bear in mind. So we can see there can be some levels of overlap. There can be some areas where there is some overlap between the two. But pretty much these three things are quite unique. Of course, the magic comes through the jinn. The jinn are the agent by which the magic is kind of delivered. The jinn possession, we said, is the jinn acting of their own accord. And we said the evil eye is independent because it comes from the soul to the soul. But at the end of the day, the evil eye can also come from perhaps someone who has other afflictions, and they get a mix of afflictions. It's one of the hardest things to deal with when someone has a mix of afflictions. So they had the evil eye, and then after that someone did magic on them, and after that they had jinn possession, and they become just a big mix, like a big, like something has been just thrown in the mix and just mixed up. And that can be hard to treat because you're looking for signs of one thing and you're seeing signs of the other, and you're becoming very confused what is happening. And often the problem is it's a mix of everything and anything. So now we come to having spoken about these basic terms, and all we did so far is just define basic terms. We should also talk about Ruqya, because a lot of you're all here today because there's a course with the word Ruqya on the front, and a lot of people might be thinking, what is Ruqya? Ruqya is mentioned one time that I know of in the Quran. It might be more than that, but at least one time the actual word is mentioned, or near to the word is mentioned, and that is in Surah Al-Qiyamah. Surah Al-Qiyamah. Let's have a look. So Allah Azza wa Jal says, كَلَّا إِذَا بَلَغَتِ التَّرَاقِي وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. Until when the soul reaches the throat, and they will say, who will perform ruqya for him, for this dead person? Man raq. Yani who will perform ruqya? Who will be a raqi? Raq means raqi. Who will be a raqi? Who will perform ruqya? Let's see what Imam al-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala says. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ أي من يرقيه من الرقية لأنهم انقطعت آمالهم من الأسباب العادية فتعلقوا بالأسباب الإلهية ولكن القضاء والقدر إذا حتم وجاء فلا مرد له. He says, Man raq from al-ruqya, meaning raq, meaning ruqya. Ruqya. Because their hopes of a worldly cure have ended. And these people, the doctor has said, that's it, he's dead. Switch off the machine, this guy has had it, he's gone. So they've lost all hope of, as Imam al-Sa'di said, they've lost all hope of al-asbab al-adiyya, of the worldly means to cure this person. So now they have attached their hearts to al-asbab al-ilahiyya, to divine intervention. Like now they're like, look, there is no worldly doctor who can treat this dead person. The only thing we can give them is that Allah Azza wa Jal will cure them through Ruqya. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. And of course, when the command of Allah Azza wa Jal comes, there is no Ruqya to benefit them. And there is no cure for them, because when the time of comes, there is no chance to delay. There is no chance to إِنَّ أَجَلَ اللَّهِ إِذَا جَاءَ لَا يُؤَخَّرُ. That the command of Allah, the time of Allah, when the person is going to die, you can't make them die any quicker and you can't slow down their death any longer. But this is an evidence of, or this is a mention of Ruqya in the Quran. That when this person is dying, the people gather around and they no longer ask for a doctor because it's clear the doctor can't do anything. So they say, Man raq, who will come and perform Ruqya for this person. وَظَنَّ أَنَّهُ الْفِرَاقِ. And then they realize that this person is going to die. Because there is nobody who can perform Ruqya for them when they are, at the end of the day, death is death. But this shows that Ruqya is a treatment above the level of medicine. Because like Imam al-Sa'di said, they first of all go to the doctor. When they can't find the doctor, what do they say? Man raq, who will perform Ruqya. That Ruqya is min al-asbab al-ilahiyya, from the divine methods of treatment, from the treatment that comes directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Ruqya is a word that comes from ruqa or ruqya, meaning incantation, to recite something with the words, to say certain words with the intention of a cure. And Ruqya is of two types. Ruqyatun shar'iyya and Ruqyatun shirkiyya, or Ruqyatun غير شرعية. There is Islamic Ruqya and polytheistic Ruqya, or Islamic Ruqya and non-Islamic Ruqya. As for Islamic Ruqya, it is incantation with the Quran and the authentic Sunnah and the names of Allah Azza wa Jalla. The Quran, the names of Allah, and the authentic dua and adhkar from the Sunnah. This is al-Ruqya al-Shar'iyya. And as for al-Ruqya al-Shirkiyya, the Ruqya of shirk and polytheism, then this is the Ruqya that the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna al-Ruqa wa-Tama'im wa-Tiwala shirk. Indeed, Ruqya and amulets, taweez, and these things that they tie around themselves for fortune and divination is shirk, making a partner with Allah. So there is a Ruqya the Prophet ﷺ said is shirk, is making a partner with Allah, and there is a Ruqya the Prophet ﷺ advised to use. So there is Ruqyatun Shar'iyya and Ruqyatun Shirkiyya. There is a Ruqya from the Sharia and a Ruqya which is polytheism. The Ruqya from the Shar'iyya, the Ruqya which is from the Sharia, is what? It is the Ruqya that is from the Book of Allah, from the Quran. So saying certain words from the Quran, reciting certain parts of the Quran, with the intention of bringing a divine cure, a cure from Allah Azza wa Jal. Reciting the Quran with the intention of bringing this cure from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the names of Allah and the authentic dhikr and dua mentioned in the Sunnah. it has to be in a clearly understood language. So one of the conditions of Ruqya is it has to be Ruqya Shar'iyya, is it has to be clearly understood. If you ever go for someone for Ruqya and then like this, yeah, this is Ruqyatun Shirkiyya. This is the Ruqya of Shirk and the Ruqya of worshipping the shaitan. This is what they do. They say things you can't understand, like this. So you can only hear just a buzzing sound and you don't know what they are saying. Or you see, and I will show you. And this came to me today. This is a ta'weez someone gave to me today. And you might not be able to see very well, but for those, I don't know if you can see or not, or if the camera can see or not, but it's just scribbles. I mean, it looks like my 4-year-old son just took a pen and scribbled. I can make out Bismillah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and the rest of it is just scribbles and crosses and scribbles and nothing you can read. This is Ruqyatun Shirkiyya. This is the Ruqya of Shirk. Why? Because it is not in a clearly understood language. It cannot be read or understood by anyone except the magician who knows what it is that they wrote. As for the Quran, it should be clear. So you'll say to the person who gave this, what is this? He will say it's Quran. And you say, but we can't read it. He will say, no, I will guarantee for you it's Quran, don't worry. The reality is it permissible to scribble the Quran like this? Is it permissible to draw the Jewish symbols over the Quran and to draw the pictures of shaitan over the Quran and to write Iblis, Iblis, Iblis? This is what we find inside these ta'aweez. These ta'aweez are all of them shirk, all of them. They're either shirk or they're either fake. That simple. I'll give you a straight answer. Ta'aweez, they're either shirk or they are fake. What do I mean by this? If they are genuine, they are full of the names of shaitan. Sometimes they make you a fake one and they print you like a page of the Quran and just fold it up and put it inside. And then, later on the person gets angry that, what is this? I could have done this myself. The reality is that these ta'aweez, all of them are shirk. And if they are not shirk, then they are just people fooling you. It is not permissible for you to hang the Quran around your neck. But even if some of the scholars considered this to be permissible, they definitely didn't consider it permissible to write symbols and numbers and strange signs and the names of shaitan and scribbling the Quran. And bear in mind, I want you to bear something in mind while we're on the topic of ta'weez and ruqa. I want you to go to Surah Al-Baqarah. And in Surah Al-Baqarah, and we'll see what Imam Al-Sa'di has to say about this in Surah Al-Baqarah, towards the beginning of the first juz. Let us see the ayah number. Ayah number 58. Very important for understanding how the ta'weez works. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا دُخُلُوا هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةَ فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمْ رَغَدًا وَدُخُلُوا الْبَابَ سُجَّدًا وَقُولُوا حِطَّةٌ نَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ خَطَايَاكُمْ وَسَنَزِيدُ الْمُحْسِنِينَ فَبَدَّلَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا قَوْلًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي قِيلَ لَهُمْ فَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا رِجْزًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. When we said to them, and the children of Israel, enter into this town and eat from it wherever you wish, and enter the door or the gate of the town, sujjadan, bowing to Allah Azza wa Jalla in gratitude, and say hitta. What does the Imam Al-Sa'di say about hitta? أي يحط عنهم خطاياهم يعني حط عنا خطياتنا, wipe out our sins. Hitta, wipe out our sins. What did they say? فَبَدَّلَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا قَوْلًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي قِيلَ لَهُمْ فَقَالُوا بَدَلَ حِطَّةٍ حَبَّةٌ فِي حِنطَةٍ. They said hinta. Instead of hitta, they were told to say hitta, wipe out our sins, and they said hinta, some kind of like seeds and something like wheat in a seed, wheat piece of wheat in a seed like this. Look at what they said. They were told to say wipe out our sins, and they said give us a grain of wheat or something like this. Subhanallah. So what did Allah Azza wa Jalla say? We sent down upon those who were oppressive, those who changed this word, a punishment from the heavens because of their defiance of Allah. These people, when they write the ta'weed, they only need to change one letter. They can write Ayatul Kursi perfectly. One single letter, hitta, hinta. And that's it. The punishment of Allah comes upon them and they make a partner with Allah Azza wa Jal, because instead of saying what they are told to say, and Allah Azza wa Jal tells us about this in Surah Ali Imran as well. We can find this in Surah Ali Imran, if we have a look, inshallah, as well. Let's find the ayah. In fact, it's easier to search for it on here. So we get the reference. I want everyone to have the references. And we mentioned this ayah yesterday. Ayah number 78. وَإِنَّ مِنْهُمْ لَفَرِيقًا يَلْوُونَ أَلْسِنَتَهُمْ بِالْكِتَابِ لِتَحْسَبُوهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَمَا هُوَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَيَقُولُونَ هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ وَمَا هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ وَيَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. There are some people, and what do? They distort, yalwoon, they distort the book with their tongue. So you think, but it's not from the book. And you think it is from Allah, but it's not from Allah. And they say about Allah a lie while they know. This is, if I were to explain this ta'weez to you, this is the meaning of the ayah in Surah Al-Imran. وَإِنَّ مِنْهُمْ لَفَرِيقًا يَلْوُونَ أَلْسِنَتَهُمْ بِالْكِتَابِ لِتَحْسَبُوهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَمَا هُوَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ. They twist their tongues around so that you think this piece of paper with these scribbles on is from the book. You think this is from the Quran. وَمَا هُوَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ. This is not from the Quran. وَيَقُولُونَ هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. They say this is from Allah. وَمَا هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. But it's not from Allah. وَيَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. They say about Allah a lie while they know this is not from the Quran, and they know that it is not from Allah Azza wa Jal. Sometimes they will say it's not from the Quran, it's from a secret knowledge that was given to our fathers by Jibreel or some such thing, or in a dream we got wahi about the secret name of Allah that nobody knows except us, and this name is Badduh and Qadduh and all of these strange names of shaitan that they write. We say these are not names of Allah. If it's a name of Allah, قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Show me the ayah, show me the hadith that says Badduh is a name of Allah. La wallah. Badduh is from the names of the shaitan. And they write Badduh, Badduh. Sometimes they don't even write that. I've opened ta'weed, it's written on, Ya Iblis, 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 Iblis. And sometimes they just, sometimes they just give up the deception and just tell you straight away, Iblis, 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 take it. And you're walking around your neck, you say, Ayatul Kursi, Ayatul Kursi, Allahu la ilaha illahu. You open it up, Iblis, 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 help me, Iblis. And it came from Imam Sahib, the Imam of the Masjid, pious, holy, and long beard, and maybe he doesn't know what he's writing. Maybe he's miskeen, he's copying from a book and he doesn't know what he's writing. But the reality is, whether he knows or he doesn't, you can't be walking around with Iblis written 10 times around your neck, because that's not going to benefit you in anything. So be careful about this with the fake Ruqya. What do we say Ruqya is? From the Quran, the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the authentic adhkar and dua. This is Ruqya. As for Ruqya, which comes from, unknown words and strange languages, and strange letters that we don't know, and names of Allah that were revealed to people in a dream one night, and secret source and secret substance. He'll tell me, I've got a secret source, only me and one person in the world knows the secret of this cure. This is the cure that was given to Sulaiman. This is the ring that was given to Sulaiman. This ta'weed is what was written on the ring of Sulaiman. We say, قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Bring us your proof. Don't tell us it was written on the ring of Sulaiman. It might be written on the ring of Iblis. Show us it was written on the ring of Sulaiman. And in the end of it, they have nothing. The only thing they have is الظن. يقولون إلا الظن وما تهوى الأنفس. All they have is just guessing and what their souls incline them towards. So never accept a ruqya with strange words. Never accept a ruqya with scribbles. Never accept a ruqya from someone that you don't trust in their nearness to Allah Azza wa Jal and their adherence to the Quran and the Sunnah. Never accept ruqya from a mubtadi', from an innovator. Because the reality is, if they're not shy to innovate in this religion what didn't come from it, they will not be shy to give you something in ruqya which did not come from it. Never take ruqya with strange things and symbols, and someone says, bring for me an albino rat, bring for me, I want you to bring for me a sheep that looks like a crow, or I want you to bring for me the foot of a bird, or I want you to bring for me a sheep's heart, or any of these ajaib, or they start asking you about your mother's name. Wallahi, I was so sad the other day. Wallahi, I wanted to cry. Wallah. Somebody sent me an email. He said, I need help in ruqya. And this is my name and my mother's name. As if I am a sahir. As if I'm a magician who is going to do some sihr, and you can do some, they call it amal. Like they don't like to call it sihr. They call it amal. He's doing an action for me. He's doing a little bit of work for me. And the reality is that, people are emailing me asking me to do sihr for them. Wallah, I spend my whole life telling people not to do sihr, and people email me asking me to do sihr for them. And telling me this is my name and this is my mother's name, and you can do some amal for us. You can do some actions for us. A'udhu billah. So the reality is, never give your mother's name, never give your own name, never do this whole thing of drink the tea and then have a look in the mug and see where the tea leaves are. Or one famous thing they do is they measure your clothing. So they come and they do something on you, and then they take your t-shirt and they see if it got bigger or it got smaller. All of this is kihana, all of this is fortune telling and sihr, and none of it is ruqya. And this leads us to a vital principle, ikhwani, with regard to ruqya. Take this from me. It's so important. Al-asma'u la tughayyiru al-haqa'iq. Principle in Islam, qa'idatun shar'iyyah. Al-asma'u la tughayyiru al-haqa'iq. Names don't change reality. Names don't change reality. So here somebody says, I'm going to give you a spiritual drink. And it's alcohol. The fact you call it a spiritual drink doesn't make it halal for you to drink. Someone comes and says, they take the word riba, ra, ba, alif, and they make it ra, ba, ha. And they say ribh, profit. إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ مِثْلُ الرِّبَى. They say that it's just profit. This is ribh. I'm not going to take any riba from you. I'm going to take a small profit. Like these, bank accounts that say we are riba free, but we give you profit. Ya ikhwan, let's be honest. All they did is take the alif and just change it into a ha. Al-asma'u la tughayyiru al-haqa'iq. Changing the name doesn't change what it is. You can call it taweez, you can call it ruqya, you can call it shifa, you can call it amal, you can call it whatever you like. But if it's shirk, it's shirk. And if it's sunnah, it's sunnah. So don't be fooled by names. They say, no, of course I don't do sihr. No, I only do, a'mal, nafsiyah. I do some, work with your soul. Like we had one guy, he was working with a case in Gateshead. They phoned a guy in Pakistan. He said, I'm going to send my soul. I'm going to take my ruh out of my body, and my ruh is going to travel from Pakistan, first class, land, and my ruh is going to come and deal with the jinn in your house, because my body can't come, my body is busy. But my ruh is going to come. We laugh, wallahi, but it's not funny, wallah, subhanallah. The sad thing is, what do? They come, they do magic, they send the jinn, and they do all of their crazy stuff. Does it change anything that he says ruh and he doesn't say jinn? It doesn't change anything, because if your ruh, it goes away from you that much, you are dead. And so the reality is, it doesn't change. Names don't change the reality of things. Don't let someone say, I'm a raqi, I do ruqya for people. Of course, never sihr. So can I just have your name and your mother's name and a piece of clothing? Names don't change reality. So don't ever let anybody fool you by calling it ruqya or calling it something else. Shirk is shirk. Ruqya shar'iyya is ruqya shar'iyya. Don't mix the two up. Now, We come to the use of the Quran for Ruqya, and this is one of the main themes I want to cover today, inshaAllah ta'ala. And we come to, let us see whether I have marked it in the correct place. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in Surah Al-Isra, Surah Al-Isra, and the ayah number is ayah number 82. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. We have sent down of the Quran. And our Sheikh Ali in his book, he says here that min here is not, we're going to get into Arabic a little bit, but just have a little sabr with us. Yani. It's not tab'idiyya here. It doesn't mean part of the Quran is shifa. We have sent down the Quran as a shifa. Shifa'un wa rahmatun lil mu'minin. It's a shifa and a mercy for the believers. And it only increases the wrongdoers in loss. I think the tafsir of Imam al-Sa'di here is absolutely beautiful, so I'm gonna read it to you, inshaAllah ta'ala. He says, فالقرآن مشتمل على الشفاء والرحمة وليس ذلك لكل أحد وإنما ذلك للمؤمنين به المصدقين بآياته العاملين به وأما الظالمون بعدم التصديق به أو عدم العمل به فلا تزيدهم آياته إلا خسارة إذ به تقوم عليهم الحجة فالشفاء الذي تضمنه القرآن عام لشفاء القلوب من الشبه والجهالة والآراء الفاسدة والانحراف السيء والقصود السيئة فإنه مشتمل على العلم اليقيني الذي تزول به كل شبهة وجهالة والوعظ والتذكير الذي يزول به كل شهوة تخالف أمر الله ولشفاء الأبدان من آلامها وأسقامها وأما الرحمة فإنما فيه من أسباب الوسائل التي يحث عليها متى فعلها العبد فاز بالرحمة والسعادة الأبدية والثواب العاجل والآجل. Beautiful summary of the Quran as a shifa by Imam Sa'di. He says the Quran gathers in it shifa and rahmah. I want you to understand this word shifa because I think people misunderstand. There is a difference between shifa and dawa. Dawa is medicine. Okay? Tadawa wala tadawa bil haram. Medicine is called dawa. Shifa is a direct cure. So Allah Azza wa Jalla did not call the Quran a medicine. He called the Quran a cure. Big difference. A medicine is a sabab, like a cause cure. You know, you take it, cure might happen, it might not happen. Shifa is the end result of taking the medicine. So Allah Azza wa Jalla described the Quran as the end result of taking the medicine and not as the medicine itself. Meaning that the Quran is a direct cure for every illness. So he says it contains shifa and rahmah. And this is not for everyone. Wallahi, I really emphasize this to you guys. This is not for everyone. Many people will read the Quran and they will not get shifa from the Quran. Why? He's going to explain. It is only for the believers in it. Those who believe in its ayat and act upon them. So it is for the believers in the ayat and those who act upon them. As for the oppressors who do not believe in it or do not act upon it, then it will only increase them in loss. Because on the Day of Judgment, it will be a proof against them. So the cure that is contained within the Quran is general for shifa of the heart from doubts, misconceptions, ignorance, false opinions, and turning away from the truth and evil intentions. And the Quran is a cure from all of those things. And it contains beneficial, certain knowledge which removes every kind of doubt and ignorance. And it contains admonition and remembrance which remove every kind of desire which contradicts the command of Allah. And it is also general for a cure of the body. So it's not just a cure for the heart, it's a cure for the heart and for the body. What kind of cure is it for the body? From its pains and its sickness. And every kind of pain and sickness you feel in your body, the Quran is a cure for it. And what else? As for the mercy, then the Quran contains the means and the ways of achieving that if you were to, and encouraging you to do these actions, you would be successful by getting this mercy and this happiness which will last forever, and the reward in this world and the next. And I think this is an absolutely beautiful summary of the shifa of the Quran. Because the shifa of the Quran, some people say, well, the Quran is a shifa, meaning I can treat my headache. Yes. But the Quran is also a shifa for your heart. It's a cure for your heart from doubts, confusion, turning away from the right path, feeling down and depressed. It's a cure for your mind. It's a cure for your soul. It's a cure for your body. It's a cure for the problems of the paranormal, and it's a cure for the problems of the dunya. The Quran is a comprehensive cure. Shifa'un am. It is a comprehensive cure for every single kind of illness and every single kind of sickness. So we should never ever see the Quran as being just something to wake us up from not practicing, or that the Quran is just something to encourage us to do good, or that the Quran is just a cure for the jinn problem, or just a cure for the problem of magic. The Quran is a cure for every single problem, whether it is a problem of the heart or the mind, or the body or the soul. The Quran is a cure for it. And the Quran is not a medicine, because you take a medicine, it might work, it might not work. The Quran is a direct cure. You take it, you will be cured bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. But this cure does not belong to everyone. It belongs to those people who act upon it, those people who believe in it, those people who learn it and study it. And this is really why I am sat here today teaching you from the Quran instead of from my own ideas and thoughts. Because I want you guys to attach yourself to the cure, to become attached to the Quran in such a way that you are learning the Quran, understanding the Quran, and acting upon the Quran. We have a few sort of points to mention in this. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَلَوْ أَنَّ قُرْآنًا سُيِّرَتْ بِهِ الْجِبَالِ أَوْ قُطِّعَتْ بِهِ الْأَرْضِ أَوْ كُلِّمَ بِهِ الْمَوْتَى. If there was any Quran by which you could render the mountains to dust and break the earth up and cause the dead to speak, it would be this Quran. And we know Allah Azza wa Jalla said about the Quran, when Allah Azza wa Jalla told us that this Quran, if it was لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. If we sent this Quran upon a mountain, you would see the mountain tremble and rendered asunder out of the fear of Allah. This Quran is something that is a living miracle. It is our living miracle. It's our miracle that lasts for us no matter what. And it's always here until the time when Allah Azza wa Jalla takes it from the face of the earth and there are no more believers left. This Quran is with us, in the hearts of people and on the pages of the Mus'haf. This Quran is protected by Allah. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla has promised to protect this Quran. So this Quran offers a comprehensive cure. But to get that cure, we have to do some things. We have to recite the Quran as it deserves to be recited. الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Those people who recite it as it deserves to be recited. We have to understand what it means. You know how many of us read Surah Al-Fatiha? Surah Al-Fatiha is enough to cure any illness. But how many people read Surah Al-Fatiha and They don't take from the surah enough knowledge to be able to understand and act upon it, and so they miss the full benefit of the Quran. And so it's very important that we treat this, like I think Ibn al-Qayyim talks about it, that whenever you have a weapon, your weapon requires 3 basic things to work. The weapon must be sharp, must be the right weapon, the right weapon for the right enemy. And the hand that wields the sword must be strong. Because if you have the perfect sword, but you don't have the strength to lift up the sword, you'll not be able to strike your enemy. You have this sword that is the sharpest sword in the world, and you go to lift it, but you can't lift the sword up because your arms are not strong enough to lift up the sword. Or your arms are strong, but your aim is off. So instead of hitting your enemy, you miss. And so your sharp sword doesn't make any difference at all. And therefore, we have to consider, we have the right weapon, so the weapon against all our illnesses and problems and psychological issues and the jinn and magic and evil eye is the Quran. It's our primary weapon, our first thing that we have is the Quran. But then we have to have the strength, the iman, to be able to use that Quran in the right way. It's not, your biceps is not involved in how you use the Quran, but your iman, how much you believe and what you understand and how much you act upon the Quran. And then your accuracy, using it in the right way, the right ayat in the right way with the right aim and the right method. Because otherwise you have this perfect Quran and your iman is really strong, but you don't use it in the right way, and so it doesn't affect the person in the way that you want it to affect them. So we have to use it in the right way. We have to have the perfect weapon, which of course the Quran is the perfect weapon against these sicknesses and illnesses. And we have to also have the strength of iman to be able to wield that weapon. Now I want to make a disclaimer in that. So a lot of people will listen to that and then they will say to me, well, I don't have that, so I shouldn't do Ruqya. That's not the answer. The answer is to say, yes, I have some to improve, as all of us do. I'm no different from you in that. We all have some way to improve. But to say that, better to do the Ruqya and try and start and make an effort and increase our iman through the Ruqya than it is for us to abandon the Ruqya